other than just the fact that it's taking you so long, it's been a project you've always wanted to do, what else about it is personal that's also in this movie that drove you to want to make this?
Well, I think, it's a movie about the origins of what I do, in a way, of this industry, of this art form. So in some ways I felt like I was, exploring my own ancestors on some level. These are the people in this movie are the people whose shoulders I stand on, I and every filmmaker today. So it felt like something to pay tribute to, and also to do justice to just how wild and crazy and unlike anything else and reckless and fearless and courageous this era and those people were.
Awesome. Thank you so much. How does it feel to be representing the Latino community in such a big way, being the lead character of this movie?
It feels like a door that has been opening for a long time, and I'm just part of a lot of guys that we are just pushing the door to be fully open for us.
Yeah, and you're excited. Congrats on the nomination.
Thank you so much.
Do you have any advice that you can give to aspiring actors or anyone who might be struggling to get through it?
Sometimes it's not the being the right moment at the right place. Sometimes it's being the wrong moment at the wrong place, and just follow the dream, I guess.
Awesome, thank you so much. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got introduced to the project and what made you decide to say yes?
So I got introduced to the project through my team, and they said this was going to be a fantastic movie. It's an all-star cast, and you might want to consider doing it. So I said, say less. What do I do? And from the moment I got the audition to the moment I got the part, Damien was with me the whole step of the way, and I really appreciate him because he's an actor's director. He's a collaborator, and he wants to make sure that you feel comfortable and that you are at your best. And I think that's what makes a director a great director.
Awesome. And what was your experience like working on such a big production set and stuff like that? How was that for you?
That was such an exciting moment because not often are you able to work on such a huge project with such an amazing cast. And so everybody made us feel welcome, from Brad to Margot to Gene Smart to Tobey Maguire. It's Spider-Man, for Christ's sakes. Everybody made us feel welcome. And that felt special. And that made me say to myself, this is why I am in this business.
Amazing. Yeah. Was there any piece of advice that you learned that might have been new on while working with Damien or any of these guys that you're going to take away from this film?
I learned from Gene Smart. I watched her between takes. She would just sit there still and just conserve energy. And she's like, young man, in this business, you'll have to learn how to conserve your energy or you will burn yourself out.
Wow.
And I just thought that was very impactful to me. Coming from someone who's a successfully, beautifully talented working actress, that was profound.
What would you say is a piece of advice that you could give for aspiring actors or actresses that are, trying to make it right now?
Great question. I would tell them, listen, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint, right? And never give up, right? Because that thing that's inherently in you, that passion that's within you, that's what you have to give back to the world, and that's what makes the world a better place. That thing that's in you that gives you that fire and that passion and desire. Never give up. Keep chasing, because it's going to come true.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Great job.
You are one of the funniest side characters in almost all the roles that you do. You somehow...
Dude, I love you.
No, I love you too.
Tell my wife, goddammit.
No, you
my
are...
wife. She's a laugh for me. No, sorry.
You are hilarious,
Thanks,
right?
buddy.
How do you keep that funniness, even if the role or the project that you're in isn't it might be a dramatic role or
Yeah. Very okay, for this job, I'm clearly not that mean a person. But I do have a lot of kids. We were shooting during COVID. I was fucking pissed off. I had a lot of shit to get out. So I just took it out on the cast. No, I'm kidding. No. When I play bad guys, it's actually weirdly easier for me because I instantly know that's so viscerally inappropriate and terrible. I'm like, oh, that's it. When I play characters that are more closer to who I am, nice, whatever, it's actually harder for me to play that because I'm like, is this right? Is this real? Like, I don't know, because I have no like jolting feeling that's like, don't do that. I'm like, I'm doing that, you know? Yeah, truly.
One more question.
Yeah.
You've worked with some of the most incredible directors of all time.
Yeah, so far you're doing great. By the way. You're directing this whole thing. You're crushing it.
Thank you. And do you have any piece of advice that you learned from Scorsese or Damien that you can share with us today?
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly. They pick me, obviously. They're really good about picking actors who aren't cancers or good people, that are good team players. They're really good about letting them do their thing. They're like, they want you to be you, because they know if you're all in as much as they are all in, something special is going to happen. And the biggest thing is they all have this. The Mike Nichols, the Scorseses, Clint Eastwood's, all. I've been like, God, let's keep going. Damien, in particular, they really make you feel like, I'm going to pick you to throw the touchdown pass and win the Super Bowl. And you're like, dude, that's crazy. But in the moment, you're like, I'm Tom Brady. I'm going to do this. And that's what they give you. So that's it.
Thank you so much. Can you tell us a little bit about your role without giving it away?
Damien Chazelle called and said, want to be in my movie? And I said, yes. And I played Margot's dad, and it was cool.
Did you do any research that like had to go into the role of playing a movie that takes place in the 20s or no?
No, I'm a movie buff. I know about movies.
You know about movies? What's your favorite movie of all time?
Of all time? It's hard to say. I got about a half dozen favorites, but probably Harold and Maude, Hal Ashby film.
1971, right?
Yeah, 19-ish. Yeah, good for you.
I have some more questions for you. Sorry.
Good call, 71.
Yeah, right? I think so too, right? Thank you. How would you describe the film in one sentence?
Sexy.
Sexy. Okay.
No, that's one word. One sentence. A brilliant, unique, sexy film.
Nice. Okay. And Damien, from what I've heard, is a crazy kind of director, very different. And you've worked with a lot of very big directors as well. Were there any new things that you learned this time on set that you might not have known before?
Well, he has the calmest presence on a set that's huge. I mean, it's huge sets. We had huge casts, huge stuff, huge 25 camera setups some nights. I mean, huge stuff to do. And he's just calm, cool, collected.
They asked me to walk the jets to the line.
Cat. Yeah.
Just a calm guy.
He's a winner.
That's really that's good to know, because then it's like that means the movie's probably going to be really good then, right? What do you hope the audience takes away from your character or takes away from the film based on your performance?
Well, my character's a little tragic, but I hope they take away from the film a little film history, because it's cool.
You've worked with Damien before, if I'm not mistaken. Whiplash, The Short, La La Land.
Yeah.
So, how is it working with Damien and music-centered films? And is there anything different about this one as opposed to the other ones?
Yeah, well, Damien and I started working with the Whiplash short. We did Whiplash the feature. We did La La Land. We did First Man. We even worked on a commercial together that he directed. I mean, at this point we have a shorthand, and when we work together, we are joined at the hip. For a year, a little over a year in the editing room. I mean, I share breakfast, lunch, and dinner with him. And he is always in the editing room because he loves the editing process. In a lot of ways, it's gotten easier because our shorthand has developed. In a lot of other ways, it's gotten harder because every movie he's done has gotten bigger and bigger. This is the biggest movie that we've ever done together. This is probably the hardest movie, most difficult movie I've ever worked on. It is a maximalist ensemble epic movie. We always knew it was going to be big. Whiplash and La La Land are two-handers. First Man is kind of a single character movie. This is a movie where Damien wanted to show how Hollywood transforms people, and he wanted to show it through the perspectives of all these different characters. And so it required a movie of a certain amount of scope. He also wanted to tell the story with a lot of raucous style. He wanted it to be loud and in your face. He wanted it to be coked up and full of adrenaline. You know, I mean, one thing he told me was, we're going to be making this big movie. It's an 180-page script. It wants to be a 3-hour movie. He told me, I think it's probably going to clock out to be a minute a page, but I needed to feel like The Wolf of Wall Street and Whiplash. So that's what we tried to do. That was our task at hand.
So keeping a short pace, but for a long amount of time, like a quick pace for a long amount of time. Did you get any pushback from the producers, or were they like, when you were done editing 3 hours, 8 minutes, you were like, this can't be any shorter, this is how it has to go?
No, our producers and Paramount were extremely supportive all along the way. The first cut Damien and I looked at for this movie was 2 hours and 56 minutes. And it didn't work. It was things were too fast, the rhythm was wrong, we were missing things, and our producers were some of the first people to remind us of that. They said we're losing the thread. So the next cut we had was about 3 hours 30 minutes. Then we brought it down to 3:10, 3:15, and we kind of kept going until we arrived at the time it's at now, which ultimately we realized is where the movie really wanted to be.
So my last and final question for you is, I guess it works differently per director, but as the editor, do you really have like the final say of like, this is how I want everything? Like, you're the one in the program, or is that Damien's call really?
You know, it's to me, feature films as a director's medium, and so it's always the directors. You know, so I am always there when we make the final. You know, we make the final cut, we lock picture. I mean, that's something that I feel like that's something sacred, almost like witnessing, the splitting of the atom or something like that, witnessing creation. So I'm a part of that in my own way, but it's a director's medium. The director has the final say.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. What's your favorite? What do you think is the best? This must have been a crazy movie, like, to have requested over 3 hours in length, like the $78 million budget.
Yeah.
What was it like? What was it like working with Damien Chazelle on the producer side?
Well, I actually talked to Damien about 13 years ago about this movie after he had made his black and white musical Guy and Madeline. And to be honest, we were just young. We were just sort of kids. And this movie was always like the impossible movie. It was like, will anybody ever actually make Babylon? And at that time, we hadn't even really had full careers, so it was almost just this dream that was probably just going to go away. So I feel so grateful tonight to be here because there's so many times along the way I thought no one will ever make this movie. And then when we started taking it seriously and going, what if we started to build that script and see what comes? Again, you think that's a big risk. What if nobody gets it and they just go, you guys are crazy? Because we were. And ironically, that's the ambition that's in the movie is what made people sign up for it. That's how you get Brad and Margot and this incredible cast. It's how you get Linus and Tom Cross and our HODs, Mary Zoffreys, and we have the best of the best of the best. And it's because when we were working on the script and we finally presented it, they saw the ambition. So weirdly, the impossibility of the movie is the thing that made it possible, which is it's still shocking to me.
Yeah, right? Crazy. Yeah. One last question for you.
Yeah.
What is your goal, I guess, of this movie? Like, as producer, like, what do you want the audience to take out of it?
Yeah. Honestly, for me, my dream was to make a movie that was bigger than any one moment in time or any one award season or any one box office number. My dream for the film would be that somebody 10 or 20 years watches it and still watches it and talks about it as something special, because that's really, really, really rare.
Right.
So that was what my hope for it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Hey,
I appreciate
pleasure.
it. Yeah, you too. Yeah, thank you.